Hello you guys, and thank you so much for tuning into my video. You guys, I decided I was going to shoot a very impromptu video. I do not have any makeup on and I do not plan on putting any makeup on, so y'all just going to have to deal with that. So, I just want to start off this video by saying that despite all of the issues I've had within the broader LGBT community, I have nothing but love for gay men, for lesbian women. Lesbian women will always be my unproblematic faves. I have nothing against bisexual men and women. I have nothing against the broader and greater alphabet community. But I've gotten to a point in my own journey where I recognize that I have never been a part of that community, and I never will be a part of that community, and that in and of itself is okay. When I first started off my transition, I gravitated so strongly to gay clubs and to the gay community because I saw gay men, essentially gay men, bisexual men and women, and lesbian women as my allies. I saw them as my brothers and sisters. I low-key felt that we were all in this march together. And time taught me that essentially as a woman who has had trans experience, that no, my experience is so different from their experiences. That I've gotten to a point in my life where I now recognize that there is no space for me in the LGBT community. The tea that people talk about, it's non-existent. It really is non-existent. And I'm at a point in my life where I no longer want to be a token for the LGBT community. I no longer feel that it serves me. If anything, it's caused so much pain and so much, I don't know, like it's caused so much pain and it's caused so much hurt and it's caused so much disappointment. So when I first started off with my transition, I'm not sure if y'all know, but I was in therapy for 1.5 years before I even started my transition. And during that point of trying to discover who I was and what I wanted for myself, I engaged with so many gay men, only to find out that their experiences of identity were so different from my own. And of course, you know, when I began living as myself, when I began living as Christabel, I picked up on the hostility that some people within the alphabet community had for me. And I never understood where it comes from. But now, being much older, I can sort of see that in the LGBT community or in the alphabet community, we really are a community of people that have been so broken down and so hurt and so marginalized that it only makes sense that we have never found unity with each other. I'm okay with not being part of the LGBT community. I am 100% chilled and okay with it because I realize that I don't need to be part of a community to be valid. I don't need to be part of any community to find acceptance. Acceptance and validation, all of those things lie within me. I don't need to have anyone from the LGBT plus community affirming me. What I do need is to understand myself. I need to forgive myself. I need to be kind to myself. And I need to make decisions that are healthy, make decisions that are supportive of me, make decisions that are loving towards me. And I need to step away from the infighting of the LGBT plus community. And I think that's I don't know, that's what's pushed me to make this decision for myself. When I moved to Cape Town and I started making gay friends and I started to really force myself into that world, I realized how I wasn't accepted in that world. It was so crazy, it almost felt like I was more accepted in cisgender heteronormative spaces than I ever was in LGBTQ plus spaces. And you know what, even though it was a difficult lesson to learn, even though it was a painful lesson to learn, it's a lesson that I'm grateful that I have learned. One thing that I'm never going to do is I'm never going to stop being an ally for gay men. I will never stop being an ally for lesbian women. I will never stop being an ally and a supporter for the bisexual community or for genderqueer people, or, you know, I'll never stop loving and supporting those people. But it is no longer in my best interests to insert myself into a world that does not accept me. So if you watch a lot of trans women on YouTube, you start to pick up on the narrative, or you start to pick up on this whole idea that the LGBTQ plus community is very divided, and there's a lot of infighting, and there's a lot of hatred, and there's a lot of just nastiness. Now I've gotten to a point in my own transition where I no longer see it to be necessary to put myself in that space because I don't feel accepted in that space. You know what I mean? So there were a couple of months ago, I used to be part of this group on WhatsApp, and it was predominantly a lot of gay men, and I think one or two lesbian women, and of course I was there as well. So it was this group where people would make jokes and post memes and just talk about gay things. And I was a part of this group. I mean, I was very, very quiet because even early on in the early days when I first joined that group, I noticed and I picked up on the fact that my voice was not seen as being important. I noticed how I was just a token. I was just the silent token that was not expected to contribute, that was not expected to, yeah, that wasn't really expected to be there. And I'm not gonna lie, initially when I first joined that group, this did not sit well with me because it almost mirrored my everyday experiences with the gay community. I mean, when I joined that WhatsApp group, I was living in a house with 2 lesbians and I think 4 gay men. And even in that space, by the way, I lived with amazing people, but even in that space, I could recognize that I was not accepted. And so the long and the short of it is there was a guy who posted on that group, he posted some meme that was very, very transphobic. And I remember reading it. And, you know, those guys had always posted stuff that was very transphobic, and I'd never said anything. And after they posted that one picture, I wrote a message in the group and I said, guys, just remember that the same people who make fun of trans people are the same people who make fun of gay men. So let's not tear apart the rainbow. So I just left it in that, not thinking that anyone would have any sort of reaction. I assumed that I would be ignored, as I'd always been. You know, I'm just a token trans girl. What I did not expect was the nastiness that was directed to me because of that comment. So all of these gay guys started to berate me and attack me and make fun of my point of view, and obviously they threw some transphobia into the mix because, hey, guess what? They are cisgender Caucasian men. So they will always be cisgender before they are in the alphabet community. You know what I mean? So they started sending all these really, really nasty and hateful messages. And it wasn't until my one friend, who is a gay man, commented and said, okay, let's calm down, leave her alone, stop making fun of my friend, stop it. It was when he spoke as a cisgender Caucasian man with pretty privilege, that the berating and the harassment stopped. And after he said that, I realized that I don't belong here and I need to remove myself, because forcing myself into the LGBTQ plus community is not only damaging to my self-esteem, is not only lowering myself, but it's not helping them and it's not helping me. So I got to a stage where I was like, I refuse to be anyone's token. I refuse to be a part of a world that refuses to accept me. And it got me thinking as to why did I even it got me thinking as to why did I even transition in the first place? Who was I doing it for? And if you have to ask yourself, like if you have to go deep down inside of your heart and ask yourself, why did you decide to live in your truth? The answer is always the same. You decided to be yourself because you wanted to be authentic. You weren't doing it for any community, and you were never doing it to be part of you, to be a token. You were doing this because transitioning essentially was going to save your life. So I'm at a point right now, like I have no ill feelings towards the greater alphabet community. I will always love and support people within that world. My best friends are from that world. And I lovingly stand on the sidelines and I just wave to them and I just support them and I send my love without being a part of that world. And it's so funny because, as a trans woman, you're almost given two options in life. You can either be part of the community and be berated and harassed and experience transphobia and almost be the sensationalized token, or you can be stealth. Now, those two options have never sat well with me. I've always hated the idea of being stealth because being stealth almost feels like you are embarrassed of your transition. It almost feels like you are ashamed of who you are. But I've come to the realization that I transitioned so that I could be a woman. And I don't need to tell anyone my story. I don't need to explain my story to anybody else. I just need to live in my truth. And that's on point blank, period. Yes, there are disadvantages with being stealth. You're continually walking on eggshells. You're continually afraid that people are going to think that you're trying to trick them. But I've moved past what other people fear for me, what other people think of me. I've moved past all of their fears and I walk into a state of truth and authenticity. I am a woman and so are you. I am the person that I fought to be, and no longer will I put myself in a space or in a community where I feel like I'm undervalued, I'm harassed, I'm treated badly. I'm not going to do it. I'm just not here to play those games anymore. I'm here to heal my own life. I just want you to know that, yes, there are a lot of people within the alphabet community that are very, very toxic and very, very negative. Yes, we've all gone through that. We've read the manual. We've bought the red shirt. We know. We all know. But what I want you to know, over and above that, is that you, as whatever you are, whether you are gender nonconforming, whether you are just trans, whether you are a cisgender gay man or a cisgender lesbian woman, just know that these communities are not the be all and end all of everything. The be all and end all of everything is you, is your authenticity, is you living in your truth. So I have nothing but love for the greater LGBTQ plus community, and I have nothing but love for my sisters and brothers who walk in those spaces, who are still a part of those communities. But as for me, as for Christabel, I have removed myself from that world because by and large it's not healthy. And I do not want to become so embittered that I start to hate gay men or I start to hate lesbian women. I would hate that for myself. So I've made the decision, I think, beginning of this year, that I was going to lovingly remove myself from that community and just love them from a distance. Because loving them from the community only hurts me. And I'm no longer about anything that will hurt me. I'm no longer about anything that will destroy me. And I've gotten to a point where I realize that I don't have to tell anyone anything that I am not comfortable with. For so many of us, our transitions have become about other people's reactions to how we live our lives. It's always about, oh, did you tell the guy? Like, does he know? Do your friends know? How did they react? Did they accept you? Never once does anyone ever ask you, do you accept yourself? How do you navigate living in your truth in this crazy, messed up world? So I'm just at a point right now where I see myself as I am. I see myself as Christabel, as a woman, as a South African, as Black. And yes, I've had trans experiences that inform me. You know what I mean? But I'm just not a part of that world anymore. And to be honest, this is the healthiest decision that I could have ever made for myself. I think so many trans women I've noticed on YouTube, there are so many trans women who have been very open and vocal about their transitions, and they only seem to reach a point where they just stop talking about it because they're tired. And this is me saying that I'm tired, I'm exhausted. I'm not going to play all of those mental games anymore. I'm not trying to convince anyone to accept me because the acceptance that I have for myself is enough to get me through this life. I don't need to be part of any community to feel safe. I don't need to be part of any community to feel accepted. The community that is me, the community that is I, is enough. I love you guys, and I just want you to know that regardless of who you are, where you are in transition, or where you are in the broader LGBTQ plus community, just know that you are loved and you are valuable. And the only person you owe anything to is yourself. And as long as you are being true to yourself, as long as you are being kind to yourself, and as long as you're being accepting of yourself, that is the only thing that anybody can ever ask from you. I'm never again going to use my platform to criticize the gay community because I'm not gay, so I cannot stand on my trans pedestal and attack the gay community. In the same way that I don't want them to attack me, I will not attack them. I just stand in a position of love, and I only tell people about my truth. I only tell the people that I trust and that I love about my truth. Everybody else is not my problem, not my baby, not my circus. So as we move into 2021, it's so weird saying it, but as we move into 2021, I just want you to realize that you don't owe anyone your story. You don't have to force yourself into any type of community. And guess what? If the trans community, if you find the trans world to be negative and toxic, baby girl, remove yourself. You do not need any type of community. You don't need any type of label that is going to dictate how you live your life. All you need are people that are going to love and support you. Everybody else can literally go fuck themselves. So I love you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed my video, and I wish you only the best in your journey, wherever you are. And if you are a person who is cisgender and gay, just know that I love you. Know that I wish nothing but the best for you. And I stand as your ally. I will always be your ally, and I will always be here to love and support you. And if you are trans, you don't have to force yourself in the alphabet community. You don't have to be a token baby girl. You literally don't. I love you so much. This video has been too long. See you guys next time. Bye.